Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave Up here, and today we're going to be chatting over Skype with Australian dance choreographer Stephen Tannos. Stephen, welcome to Rave It Up. It is a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you going today?
Good. Thanks so much for having me. How are you?
You are so welcome. I'm fantastic. Very excited to have you on. Since this is your first time on the show, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better before we chat about your latest projects. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
Now, you are known as a dancer and choreographer, but you are also trained in singing and acting. So, was the entertainment industry always your plan when you were younger, or did you have other careers in mind?
Look, it's honestly, it's something I fell into. I think I was a gymnast when I was about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years, like all those years. And I just kind of took up dancing on the side because I had too much energy that my parents needed to expel in some way, shape or form. So a dance teacher friend of my mum just suggested dancing to her, and she put me into a class. I was very hesitant to begin with. I didn't want to dance with girls. I was very afraid to do that. So she put me in this all boys hip hop class that was on at one of the local studios around our area in the Southern Shire where I grew up. And I don't know, it's just something that I just kept getting into a little bit more. And then when I was in year 8, so I would have been about 12, an audition for Oliver the Musical came up. And it was an open call. It was something that I think we saw in the newspaper, and my mum just said, do you want to go along? And I said, oh, okay. I hadn't had singing lessons, hadn't really thought about acting or anything. I was still a child. She took me along, and I just kind of laughed my way through the whole audition. And I guess the director took a liking to me and my kind of carefree attitude. I wasn't coming in with a stage mum or I had no preconceived notions of it. And I don't know, I just kept getting through, and then eventually got the phone call, and then there you go. And then from there, I decided, I guess I want to, after doing that job, maybe take that a little bit further, get some singing lessons. Eventually ended up quitting gymnastics and making dance my full-time hobby.
Yeah, look at you now.
Look at me now.
I know, it's all history now.
Yeah.
So you have also been in musicals like Cats and Fame the Musical. So how was it starting off in productions like that? Did you ever get stage fright or anything like that?
I think stage fright. I wouldn't call it stage fright. I'm definitely not afraid of the stage, and it's not something that gives me horrible anxiety. But it's more so the nerves definitely never leave you. They never go away. Especially something like that. You put so much work into something like that. You prepare for months, and then that opening night, all the reviewers are there. It's a big deal. So of course that fear never goes away. And I think if that fear does go away, you start to question your actual purpose with what you're doing. You should never take it for granted, I think. And I think every performer will be nervous, no matter what they say to you, no matter how full of themselves they are. There's always that element of anxiety before getting onto stage that I think never goes away, no matter how much success you've had, no matter how much experience you've had. Yeah, and look, theatre isn't something that I purposely fell into either. It's just, again, Cats was another one of those stories that I basically saw the brief for the audition and I thought, oh, this is a bit ridiculous. I'll give this a go. And again, just kind of was laughing through the rounds of auditions and was like, oh, what am I still doing here? What am I still doing here? What am I still doing here? And then phone call again. So I guess what can be taken away from that is just the idea of nothing is too ridiculous. I think my career has been about a lot of moments like that kind of built up into this one career of I don't think I'm perfect for this, but I'm just going to go for it anyway, because if I don't keep throwing my hat in all of the rings, then I'm never going to have any opportunity.
Yeah, you got to create your own opportunities in this industry. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you really got to be on the ball at all times, and you got to be thinking one step ahead and pushing yourself and constantly throwing yourself outside of your comfort zone. That's a big thing for me, I think, as well. It's constant. I'm 30 years old now, and I still, every day there's something new that I'm doing that I'm scared to do, but I'm grateful that I've done afterwards.
Yeah, well, it makes life fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Totally.
And it's funny about the fear and the nervousness, because I've had several people on the show say that about that you need that nervousness. I think when that kind of goes away, you kind of got to rethink, do I really care about this anymore if I'm not nervous anymore?
And I think it's channeling it into the right way, because good nerves can really make for a really good performance. I think if they're channeled into the correct focused intention, then they can be really useful, and they can charge your adrenaline, they can charge your motivation behind the scene that you're in, or the dance you're performing, or all of those things. So I think if you learn, I think it's what you get with experience. You learn how to channel that energy, that nervous energy, and put it into a correct place. When I was a lot younger, I would perform and I'd get very nervous, and sometimes I'd forget my choreography, and then I just freeze on stage and run off stage. Like I did that a lot of times when I was a lot younger. But I've learned now to push through that and to use those nerves that I had before that and to channel them into a useful kind of channel and avenue.
Well, you're definitely a pro, because when we watch you, we don't know you're nervous.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Good, you're doing a good job.
It's all about creating the illusion. Smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. Fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd also love to know, when did you make the decision to become a choreographer?
Well, now it sounds like I just keep saying this, but it's also another thing I kind of just fell into as well. I literally remember having the conversation with my mum when I would have been about 16, 15 years old. And she said, why don't you, is choreography something you'd ever want to, because we were getting towards the end of sorry, I keep scratching my nose. I realize I'm doing that a lot. It's nothing weird. It's really weirdly itchy. She said to me, is that something you'd ever consider? Because we were getting to the end of high school, and, it was clear that I wanted to make dance my career, but she wanted to make sure that there was many opportunities and avenues for me to kind of have options for. And I remember saying to her, oh, no, I never want to get into choreography. I want to be the person on stage at all times. I want to be told what to do, but I never want to be the person who's behind the scenes, because I'm an attention seeker. I want the spotlight to be on me. I don't want to be telling a person where to put the spotlight, But then I just started. So You Think You Can Dance was a thing that was just starting around about that time, the American version. Back when Wade Robson, Mia Michaels, all of those amazing people were choreographing, Napoleon and Tabitha. And I started becoming less interested in the dancers performing the piece and more interested in the people creating the piece and what that vision was like and how they come up with these ideas. And especially Wade, probably the biggest one for me, and also Mia, I guess you could say as well. They were people that were like pushing it outside of the box. There was things that they were doing that they were like blazing the trail for. They were making new movement with new pieces of music that I'd never heard before. They were fusing styles together with African dance, with contemporary, with like new styles of ballet. With like there was no barrier or boundary to what they were doing, and I think that they were just pushing. So I became interested in the idea of fusing things together and making your own style. And I also wasn't technically, and I'm still not technically the best dancer. Like I've got terrible feet.
Really?
Yeah, I do. They call me cashew foot. Kelly Abbey actually calls me cashews. Because I just have I got these terrible feet. Like I don't have very sound technique. I've got a lot of heart and I've got a lot of ability in other realms, but technically and I think I needed to create a style that was catered to what my abilities were. You look at someone like Bob Fosse, and he was someone who had pigeon toes, and he had like inverted shoulders, like his whole like body and his whole physical system was like different to that of a normal person. So he created this whole style based around that, and he used his weaknesses as strengths. So I think what I then started to do was use my weaknesses and turn them into strengths, and really like praised and worshipped my individuality. And tried to make that something that was my own style. And then through that, naturally, choreography started happening.
Wow. Did you find it hard in the beginning, to get clients and people to choreograph for? Or?
Yeah, I think the thing that's like, ignorance is bliss, because at the beginning of like becoming a choreographer, like you don't even know that it's something that's going to work out for you. So there's no idea of failure. There's no idea of expectation. You're just creating. I always try and put my head back into that place of creating my first few pieces of work. I think I had no pressure on myself. I was just blindly creating, and I was doing things that were probably some of the craziest stuff I've ever done. But then obviously channeling that into, work, into actual work opportunities it's just something that takes a long time. There's no shortcut to success in this. And I think I didn't even have YouTube we had YouTube, I think, but there was no Instagram. Facebook wasn't really used as a tool yet to like put videos on. Like it was still just very much about status updates. And so it was just like getting myself out there. And then I got opportunity, like So You Think You Can Dance came around, and I got on as a dancer. And then through that, I could kind of show my individuality of my choreography, and then that bred some other opportunities, and then those opportunities bred other opportunities, and then social media has become. So it's just like, it's not so much the process of the difficulty of getting that first person. It's just the process of going through all of that and like doing the hours and putting in the effort and creating your own style and getting yourself familiarized with the public and the people who are employing.
And kind of get them to trust you so you can take them on. And
yeah, and just getting them to actually want what you have to offer, I think, is another thing. There's a lot of stuff out there that's very same and very safe, I think. And a lot of clients do want the thing that's safe, but then I think to create something that is unique, but then also is a sure thing, I think is another thing as well. And it's what I'm trying to do. I know we haven't gotten to the show yet, but with this show that's coming up, I'm trying to create something that's uniquely me and uniquely different, but is also mass appealing.
I'm excited.
Oh, good. Right.
Well, I'll be bringing that up very shortly. You did just mention as well, So You Think You Can Dance. You're on that in 2009, and you're a part of the top 20.
Oh, you've done your research.
I have. Of course I do. Got to tailor the question specifically for you.
I love it.
How is it going from doing work on stage and musicals and everything to now being in front of heaps of cameras and having millions of people watching every night?
Yeah. Well, back then there was millions of people watching it as well. That's the thing. Like, we were like 3 million, I think, at its biggest, which for Australia, for an entertainment dance show, is ginormous. So, I mean, it's something I'm not shy in front of a camera. So I think it wasn't really a tough transition. It was something I really reveled in, I think, and really enjoyed, being able to share my personality and being able to they were encouraging me to 1000% be myself. And I think that was the first time I really got validation for what I thought was uniqueness. If anything, they were trying to ramp it up to 11.
It's TV. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly. They need characters. They need people. They need personality traits for people to gravitate towards, and characters and personalities. So I loved it. I loved the whole, even like what we're doing right now, the whole interview process, talking with the producers and creating all my stories, like all of that stuff. I've always kind of loved that. So I think that everything about that experience I'm just so grateful for, because it taught me a lot. It taught me how to be present in front of a camera. It taught me how to be honest and genuine and like drop my wall and like, drop my guards and like let people in. Because I think I like to pride myself as being a very like candid person. I welcome things in. I'm not very private, which I think is to my detriment sometimes, but I let all of my personal things out through my work. I'm very honest. So I think that experience taught me to, be honest with myself and be honest with others.
Well, it's kind of been a flip side now, because you are still working on a lot of TV shows like that, but behind the scenes now.
Well, yeah, I just did Dancing with the Stars, actually, the week that just passed.
Did you do all the choreography for them, or were you...
Just a group number for half of the celebrities and their partners.
That's exciting. Well, I've been watching it, so...
Oh, did you watch the other night?
I taped it. I haven't watched it yet, but I will be.
I did the Queen number, the one at the end of the show.
Oh, okay. I'll be paying special attention to that one now.
Yeah, it was fun. That showed something different, it's... Because I worked on Dance Boss as well, which was last year, I think. Yeah, it was last year. So you're working with, like people with much lesser ability than, say, So You Can Dance or X Factor or Australia's Got Talent, all of those kind of shows. So it really... It gets you to work a different part of your brain, and it gets you to even push further the whole thing of being mass appealing and having movement that everyone can relate to. So I think it's really beneficial working on a show, especially Dancing with the Stars, you have pros, but they're also trained in a different discipline as well. They're trained in Latin and ballroom and all those things. And what I do is very far removed from that too. So I think that's a really cool experience as well, being on that side of things. And it's stressful. It's very stressful, the TV world. Everything's quick and everything needs to be done yesterday, and everything needs to be, but it needs to be perfect, and you need to, it's really crazy stressful, but it's very rewarding as well. I really enjoy it.
Do you ever run out of ideas for your choreography or anything like that?
Well, I think the good thing and the hard thing about those shows, so it's good and hard, most of the time for those shows, you're getting your creative briefs, so they're kind of, the song's been decided for you, the treatment's been decided for you, what's happening on the screen, the props, the costumes. But the hard thing about that is, and what I struggle with, but what I'm getting better with, is putting my creativity into somebody else's idea and making it seem as though it was my idea and seem as though I'm that excited about it. Because when something's your idea, as this show is, all the concepts are mine, you have that like just endless possibilities, you have that excitement for yourself because it's an idea that you've come up with, so it's your baby. But when you're then nursing somebody else's baby and trying to bring that to health, that was a weird way of putting that.
I feel like, pigeonholed in a way, or?
Yeah, you've really got to like try and apply that same excitement from your own idea into somebody else's. But also it's good because it leaves my brain open for my ideas that I have for myself for other things. But yes, definitely, like being creative, I think is very like, it's seasonal almost, I think. Like even working for this show, I got to be very selective on times when when I have to be creative. Like I can't just, it's weird. I can't just allocate myself 2 hours in the day and say, I'm going to be creative on these 2 hours and I'm going to get work done. It's really hard. Like the best ideas hit you when you're driving, in the shower, when you're not ready for them. And that's when you know it's a good idea, if it's really just hit you from this random place and if it stays with you as well. So I don't know, it's hard. And sometimes you feel really creative and it's circumstantial as well. I think if you're in a good place mentally and emotionally, things around you are going well, you've got like an air about you that's confident, like the creativity is just amped up to 1,000. But if there's hardship going on and you're stressed about money and you're stressed about a living situation or about another job, like it's very hard. But then also through that stress becomes inspiration for other ideas. So it's this really hard thing, and it's just I'm sure you understand as well. You gotta ride the wave, because it's a wave. There's peaks and there's troughs to it, but there's like benefits to both the peaks and the troughs. So it's about learning. A creative life is about learning how to ride that wave effectively and to use it to your best advantage.
Well, this is definitely fantastic, for your fans, for our followers to really get, a bit of a behind the scenes look of how much is involved.
The insanity of it all.
Yes. It's like I look like I have it all together, but really my brain is going like this.
I don't got nothing together.
From the outside you do.
Yeah. Well, I think, through social media and everything, it's all about, social media is the greatest hits of you, and I think we're in an age where everyone understands that, and nobody wants to be scrolling through a page on Instagram of someone just crying all the time or like stressed out and like, So, but there's definitely, I'm not saying that I'm crying all the time, but I do get stressed, and as we all do, like life is stressful. I've got a stepson now, and like it's there's all the things that come into play now with and it's balancing life and balancing your career, and a career that is creative as well. It's not a 9 to 5. Like that's what I was saying to my partner the other day. Like it's hard. You can't just clock out from it, and you need to learn how to. But sometimes it's difficult, especially if you're in the middle of something. Like if that idea comes, I'm not going to shut myself off to it and say I can't run with this right now, because that might be the best thing I've come up with in the last couple of years. But you just got to like hunker down when it's there, I think.
This is great, giving us an insight.
Yeah, I try to.
Now, I really want to chat to you about some of the amazing artists you have worked with as well. For the people listening, you've worked with people like Ricky Martin, Natalie Bassingthwaighte, Jessica Mauboy, and even recently choreographed Rita ARIAs performance. That is incredible. Congrats. Who has been your favorite to work with? Do you have a favorite?
Well, so Rita I choreographed, and the other guys I danced for. So Rita was very recently. That was November last year. That was crazy. Leanne Cherney, who was Kelly Abbey's assistant, who now is like on her own right, like an amazing television performance producer and choreographer, and she called me and she threw my name in the ring with the 3 or 4 other choreographers, and just said, look, don't get your hopes up, because you never get your hopes up too much in this industry. I think I've learned to not be excited until the dotted line is signed. So I've had many opportunities similar to this, but they've never kind of come through. So she basically said, look, your name's in the hat with a few other people. Just send me your show reel, your CV, a few other clips, and we'll send it to her team. Because she was basically coming to Australia looking for a choreographer, because she wasn't going to bring all of her own people out. And for that particular song, she wanted to do different performances around the world and have different choreographers do it. So it's got like this kind of international identity, and everywhere it has its own kind of, aesthetic. So a week later, I get a phone call and they're interested in your work. They want to chat with you over Skype like we're doing right now. And then that night I chatted to them and we kind of talk through their creative, and I talked through what I reckon I could get out of her and get out of it, and they were pumped about it, and then we forged ahead and went for it, and that was a really amazing experience. Very, very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, big star in a really big award show.
Yeah, well, like the biggest thing in Australia, and she's, you know, undoubtedly one of the biggest kind of pop stars going around at the moment. That song was number one all around the world, and it was number one at the time when I got asked to do the job. Like, it was a massive song. It was on the radio every 10 minutes. Like, you couldn't escape it. So very nerve-wracking, but I was blessed. I had 20 amazing, like, male dancers who were, like, all friends of mine and people I've worked with and danced with and choreographed on over the years and taught. And so it was really fun having 20 boys in the room. I don't know if you've had 20 male dancers in one room before, if you've seen that.
No.
Yeah, it's
I can imagine though.
It's everything it sounds like. So it was a lot of fun. So yeah, and you know, molding that movement on 20, you know, amazingly powerful dancers, and then having her come in, and she came into the room, and it looked like she was like in a mood, but she wasn't. She was just probably nervous to like walk into a room of 20 people that have been, you know, working tirelessly for her. The minute she opened her mouth, she was like the loveliest, sweetest person, and she was very collaborative and very excited about what we were doing and wanted to dive right into it and took on everything I said to her. And so yeah, that was awesome. And I guess working with the other guys, like, they're all as lovely as they seem as well. Like Ricky Martin's, I danced with him twice, I think, and he remembers your name, he'll come up to you, he's really gorgeous. And Jess Malboy, I have like a personal kind of relationship with as well, like through friends, and so she was lovely. And Ricky Lee I've danced for as well, and Nat Bass. So like, yeah, I don't know, it's been very, very blessed.
Very rewarding. Yeah.
100%.
Now, your latest project coming up at Parade Theatre NIDA is your production of Found, put on by a non-for-profit dance company, We Are Dance Project. Now, everyone can go buy their tickets now for the 5 shows that you have, which is from the 12th to the 14th of April, only for a couple of days. Very quick, in and out.
That's how we get it done.
And as you mentioned earlier in the interview, you know, this is your opportunity to finally put together, you know, a full piece of your own work with total creative control. Can you tell us about what we can expect? From what I've read, it's you've gotten me very excited.
Yeah. Okay, so it's basically I wanted to just explore the word found and what does it mean, and the many connotations of it, and individuals' different kind of take on that word and what it means to them. Whether they're searching for something, whether they have found something, whether they're finding something, whether they thought they'd found something and it's disappeared, or whether they lost something. I wanted to explore that idea. So through these like 11 amazing dancers we have in the show, like you'll be able to see, they're just my favorite in the entire country. I've kind of created these different stories on the connotations of that word and what it might mean to that individual or that group of people. So I've basically bunched them up in, there's a trio, there's a duo, there's a solo moment. Basically, the show is exploring all those different stories and seeing how all those stories are connected, and seeing that how the human experience is very different for everybody, but at the same time, we're all connected as one, and we all kind of go through the same trials and tribulations, but we go through them in our own way, basically. So we explore the idea of love, the idea of finding love and losing love. We explore the idea of identity and what does it mean to find your identity and to embrace your uniqueness. We explore the idea of what does it mean to climb the totem pole of career and success, and what does success mean. Just to name a few, I won't get into all of them too much because I think I want to leave a little bit to the imagination. But basically, we explore all of those different stories, and we basically we discover that, again, the human experience is insanity, and for all of us, it's different, and we have different experiences. But everything in the show will be relatable to somebody in some way, shape, or form. I wanted to make a show that was very just not relatable just to dancers, because I think that's been done a lot in this dance kind of show space. I think we've seen a lot of shows that are by dancers for dancers. And this, for sure, is accompanied by dancers for dancers. But I want the show to be for the masses. And I want my mum, my dad, my sister, the 6-year-old down the street. I want everyone to find something in this show that they go, oh, my God, I totally get what they're saying there, and I relate to that. And I know that's important. And I think I want to talk about these issues. And I want I want to put them, what I like to do is I like to take everyday kind of issues that seem mundane, and I like to make them like, I like to ramp them up to 11, and I like to make them feel like almost like you're in this fantasy world of them. So basically we go through the show, we explore all these stories, and through that, the soundtrack of the show is all, again, very familiar to everybody. There's Queen, there's Prince, there's Stevie Wonder, there's the Beatles, there's Britney Spears in there, little something. But I've been working the last nearly 2 months, I think, on creating this soundtrack and working with a producer friend of mine. His name's Mitchell Delavagini. I hope I said his last name right. Oh my God, I hope I do. It's a hard last name. He's a genius, basically. So we've taken all these songs that you know and love, and we've reworked them and reimagined them and turned them all into new arrangements and fleshed them out. And we basically flipped them on their ears a little bit and made them these whole new things that you've never really heard before. So without giving too much, that's kind of it in a nutshell, I guess. And for me to be able to finally do something that's fully my creation, I have assistant, Cassie Bartho's assisting me, who's incredible as well. But fully creatively, I've got control over this. And I know that I've had so many things I've wanted to say fully over the last 10 years. And I feel and I'm finally getting the chance to say them all in this one, compacted assault of the senses.
Well, I'd love to know, with all the, as you said, different storylines of, being found, did you put your own, personal experiences into it, or did you go around and, chat to the 100%. Other dancers just to get ideas? I
think what I wanted to do was, because everything in the show is relatable to everybody in some way, shape or form, especially at my age, at the age of 30, by this point, you've experienced all of these things in some way, shape or form. But 100%, there's a lot of me in each of these stories. But then what I also wanted to do was be very careful about not just making it a show about my experience. I want these dancers to very much relate to their individual plot line in the show. So I know these dancers all pretty well, on a personal level. So I very much wanted to make sure that each storyline was pretty close to relatable for all of these people. And if not, they were the people that could tell those stories and could have the maturity to kind of put themselves into that place. But every storyline is very relatable, and especially to the people performing them, I'd say.
Well, it's 6 storylines, isn't it? So does that mean it's 6 dancers or more?
It's more than that. But it's basically, there's 6 hero moments in the show that we use as our tent poles, and then in between those moments, there's
kind of like chapters of a book.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Awesome. That's a good way to explain it.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. It's like one big old dance book, basically. And we flip the pages, and then it has a resolution at the end, and we introduce all of it at the beginning as well. So, yeah, I wanted to do something that feels methodical and something that feels like it's really being thought about. Because I think there's a lot of shows in this dance space that are just a compilation of works, and nothing against that, because entertainment is entertainment, but I wanted to explore the emotional level of it, and through that also be entertaining. There's very uplifting and fun moments in the show as well, but there's also some pretty hard-hitting direct moments in there as well. I wanted to find that balance, Well,
you have dancers of all different genres as well, like contemporary, jazz, hip-hop.
Ages.
Have you found putting them all together in one show and making it, flow nicely as well?
That's my favorite thing to do, honestly. If you were to give me 12 contemporary dancers, I'd get a bit bored after a while. And nothing against contemporary dancers. If you were to give me 12 of any discipline, especially creating a show for the public, you need constant stimulation, I think, and you want to see this beautiful contemporary moment, and then you want to augment it with this really jagged, broken, hip-hop driven, urban driven kind of feel, and then pull them straight back into this clean, slick, jazzy kind of world. And then, you want to throw people around a little bit. And I think the most effective way to do that is through genre and through the fusion of genre. There won't just be, I haven't just isolated the genres into their own moments. I very much enjoy putting them all together in a blender and seeing what happens. And also the dancers I've chose as well are all very versatile, I think, as well. They can all really hang with the person next to them in their respective genres. And if not, they can fake it till they make it, they're all very well versed. So I'm excited about that.
It's going to be an incredible show. I'll be there on the Friday with bells on.
Hell Hell yeah, I can't wait.
Awesome. And everyone can go buy their tickets now before it's too late, before it's sold out.
Yeah, the We Are Dance Project Instagram, all your info is there. You just at We Are Dance Project. Link is in the bio for tickets, and spread the word. It's going to be a show for everybody, really. Your kids, there's nothing too mature in it. Your kids, your auntie, your uncle, your goats, your dogs, your nieces, your nephews, and everything in between. Everybody.
The stranger you met on the way there.
100%. Everyone's going to love it.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure I include the links with this interview as well.
Awesome.
Now, Stephen, even though you've already achieved so much in your career, what else can we expect from you in the future? Do you have any plans after Found?
I would love this path I'm on right now of creating shows and like just being an all-round creative. I think I enjoy every part of the process. I enjoy the design of the soundtrack. I enjoy designing the lighting with the lighting designer. I enjoy thinking of the screen content, like all that stuff. So I think I want to keep amalgamating all my ideas into one kind of big place, whether it's a show or whether it's, I also love film content. I don't know. I think my short-term goal is just to really push myself creatively, and long-term is it's still being decided for me. I think like I try not to get too attached to the distant future and focus on what's right in front of me. And that is just to be creative and to like constantly create things that are pushing myself and are pushing the audience and are pushing the people that are performing in what I'm doing.
And keep learning.
And keep learning, keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Awesome. And do you have any advice for the listeners who might want to follow their dreams of becoming a dancer or a choreographer?
Work your butt off. You know, like you got to be a slave to it. Unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of this, there's no shortcut to success here. There's no shortcut to success anywhere. We are in the age of social media where you can be a very quick sensation, but trust me, those things, they don't last. And what does last is hard work and integrity. So be unique, be yourself, find your own voice that doesn't already exist, and be unashamedly yourself as well. And like run towards it, and don't distance yourself from it. Celebrate it and just work. And work, you got to know that this industry, there's so much sacrifice in it. Like, as I'm sure you understand too, I've missed birthdays, weddings, Christmases, everything. Like, because it's not a normal job. Like, you don't have your 9 to 5 and then you have your standard holidays. Like, you're gonna be ready to pick up the phone and go wherever, whenever. And I think you've got to prepare yourself for that. It's not all roses and daisies, you know?
Because you've got to go after those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're just going to stay still.
You're gonna not last very long at all.
And I think definitely the passion really helps, which I can see in you, because otherwise you are just going to give up. It's just going to be too much hard work.
It's all passion-based, really. Like, you're not doing this to become a millionaire. There's no secret there. You can make a good living off it if you work your butt off, like quite a good living, but you're not going to be the next Richard Branson. But you can be very successful, you know? So know that and work hard.
Well, thank you. I hope everyone takes that advice on board and goes and follows their dreams.
Of course. I
And
hope so as well.
thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us. It means a lot to all of us. So, yeah, we're really thankful for these little bits of advertisement, or big bits of advertisement.
Well, you're very welcome. You're welcome on the show anytime. So if you want to come back on in the future, just let me know.
Oh, incredible. Thank you so much.
And hopefully next time we can have a chat, you know, actually in person.
That'd be good. It seems like we're in different countries, but we're definitely both in Sydney, aren't we?
We're definitely still in Sydney, so...
Whereabouts are you right now?
I'm in the Hills district of Sydney, so around Castle Hill area, yeah. So I think we're on either ends of Sydney.
Yeah, I'm at Fox Studios, so we're not too far, but we are kind of far.
Hopefully one day we could just sort of meet in the middle somewhere. Yeah.
That'd be great.
But I'll be there at the show, so hopefully, I don't know if there's opportunities to meet you afterwards, so...
100%. I'll be in the foyer.
Awesome. Well, I'll come up and say hi and have a chat to you properly.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Awesome.
Awesome. And if you, as I said, want to come back on in the future, just keep in contact.
Great. Well, I've got your number now, so I'll reach out for sure.
We'll make it happen in the future. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks so much, Lauren. I appreciate it.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's interview. If you'd like to check out any of our other interviews, visit our website, raveituptv.com. All the podcasts and videos are there for you to enjoy. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.